welcome back to my channel. So the first thing that I want to point out, I don't know if you can see it, but my eye makeup is a little crazy right now. That is because I'm filming this the same day that I filmed the zodiac sign decides my makeup look. I just took the black off. But anyway, if you haven't watched that video, go check it out. I really enjoyed filming it. If not, that's okay too. It doesn't really matter for this video anyway. And secondly, yes, I am in pajamas. I was cold and changed into my pajamas and then decided to film this video tonight. And so yeah, So as you can probably tell from the title of this video, today we are going to be talking about creating a fan account and setting up that. Hold on, let me resituate. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and try this again. So as I mentioned in my introduction video, I created a fan account, and I've had this fan account since like April 5th of 2016. And so along this journey of creating a fan account, I've learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes, and got some things right. And multiple times during these 4 years, I've been asked by other accounts and other fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., how did you start your fan account? What do you do? How to get set up? What are some tips that you have? And so I'm going to be going ahead and in this video taking the opportunity to share some things I learned from personal experience, things that I've observed, and just some tips that I have for creating a fan account. Now before you click off saying, oh, I don't have any plans on creating a fan account, some of these tips will hopefully be useful when just creating any sort of content account. One sec, I have to let my cat out of the room. So really some of these tips can be used if you're creating a fan account, or if you want to create another account that maybe isn't personal, or even if you want to create a personal account. I think some of these tips may help with that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I did ask my friends Bella and Emily if they had any suggestions, so some of these do come from them, but most of them, like I said, are from personal experience. But I do want to say that none of these tips are meant to offend anyone or judge anyone for what they do. This is just things that I've personally learned and things that I think would help. So you don't have to listen to all of these or any of them, or you can pick which ones you think are good, or you can just, you know, listen to them all and take them all. But these are just personal things, so please don't get offended. Please don't think that I'm being rude. Like, this is just suggestions that I have. So tip number 1 is very cliche, but it's be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself when creating a fan account. So you can't create the fan account expecting to get lots of interactions, lots of comments, likes, and grow in popularity, especially depending on what kind of show or movie or book you're creating a fan account for. You have to take into account the fan base size as well as the fact that you are a new account. So I've had a lot of people who have created accounts, and I've watched them create their account, and after 2 or 3 months they give up and leave because it's too hard, because they expected that growth. So when you create a fan account, just do it for fun and don't expect right away to have the growth and activity that you want. Even now, with me having 1,600 people following me, I still don't get as much interaction as I necessarily want, or that, like, you know, I post an edit and I think it should do better and it doesn't. So that's just the way the world works. So be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and honestly create the account to have fun and to create content that you enjoy creating. Because if people can see the work that you put into it and see that you enjoy it rather than are doing it for the likes, then they're more likely to want to be around you. So that's kind of tip number 1. Tip number 2, now this is something that I think is very, very important, and that's your username. So when I was creating my fan account, I didn't really know what I knew I wanted to post Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the majority of what I wanted to post, I wanted and knew would be Fitzsimmons. So I tried to come up with the username for Fitzsimmons. When I joined the fandom, a lot of the ideas that I had were already taken, and that was when there was only 2 seasons out, so it was kind of limited on ideas. And so I chose the name S.H.I.E.L.D. Fans Unite, and I personally think that's a really good name. It's easy to remember, it's very clear, it's not difficult to read like what it is. It's just S.H.I.E.L.D. Fans Unite. So I've seen some accounts where they will put letters and like switch letters up or adjust things in their username so that they can use the username they want, but if it's taken, it's modified slightly, and that's good, but sometimes it can get confusing. I'm going to do this as an example. Let's say you wanted the name to be marvellovers, and a good example of a username would be marvellovers with a couple extra O's or 2 M's or just a slight variation. But if you do something like Marvel with a C instead of an E, and then lovers having a 0 and an E in it, it can be hard for people to remember. Now the reason that I bring this up is there's a lot of times when I'll be talking to someone and say, oh, if you like this show, or oh, if you like my edits, you should check out this account. And I will send them the username. And if you can't remember the username, you can't search it up to look for it. So that can limit your ability to gain followers, is because people can't remember your username. If you're multi-fandom, I do suggest trying to do something that includes the word multi in it, or make it clear that it is multiple fandoms. Or I've seen people, one of my friends, her name is Grace, she has her name and then like a modified spelling of edits in her username, and so it makes it, okay, these are her edits, rather than, oh, this is edits for S.H.I.E.L.D. or for Vampire Diaries or for Shameless. Like, depending on what it is, she doesn't have to worry about only certain fans following her. So that's just another suggestion for multi-fandom accounts, is to create something that's kind of broad. We're going to go ahead and move on to the third tip that I have. Okay, so this third tip, I personally find it to be the best tip, or thing that I find most annoying, is hashtags. Hashtags are very important, because if you are an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan account and you tag Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the hashtag, those who look up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will find you. We all know how hashtags work. But something that really bothers me, and oftentimes when I see this happening, I tend to not follow an account based on what hashtags they use. So in other words, if in this video I'm going to be using S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot as an example, and Marvel. So if I wanted to look up videos that were for Fitz, I would type in Leopold Fitz, and maybe if I wanted to do video edits or edits specifically, then I would add edits at the end. So Leopold Fitz edits. If I see an edit that's of Daisy, the edit may be really good, and the account who posted it may be a really talented editor, but if Fitz isn't in the video at all, I kind of tend to not follow them, because that's not what I was looking for. If I wanted to see Daisy edits, I would look up Daisy. So I do think that hashtags are important, especially when you're creating your account, to tag what is in your post, but don't necessarily tag unnecessary things. I've seen Marvel posts under a Hunger Games tag, so really try to make sure that you're only tagging what's necessary. Like I said, personally, and it may just be me, I don't tend to follow accounts when I notice that their tags are under the wrong thing, just because it's a really annoying thing for me. Anyway, that does sound kind of harsh, but if you want to grow your followers, just use the correct tags, and that'll work. You don't have to tag every single character if only a few show up. So yeah, that's kind of my tip number 3. I hope that makes sense. I hope that it doesn't sound weird, but it's something that I noticed for me, and I'm pretty sure there's other people out there who get really annoyed when they see posts that are under the wrong tags. So moving on to number 4, this is something that I feel like it's a two-way street, and that's I don't think you should comment on people's posts or message them asking for shout-outs. Here's why. When I create content and someone comments shout out for shout out or follow for follow, that tells me you're using me. It tells me that you don't care about what I'm creating, you just want others to know about your account, which it makes sense, you want people to see your account, but it can be really frustrating to feel like the people that you're posting content for aren't really appreciative of it, and instead just kind of brush over that and say, give me the attention. Something that I do recommend with this is if you want the shout-outs, look for the accounts that are doing shout-out for shout-outs already and have offered it, or if they say in their bios shout-out for shout-out, look for those accounts because they're the ones that are totally okay with doing it and are doing it with the intent on helping people, but try not to just message someone directly. Instead, try to make friends with them, try and talk to them on a regular basis, because for me, if I see a small account and they have content that they enjoy making and it's good content and they talk to me and they interact with me, I am 100% more likely to give them a shout out than I am when someone just asks for it. So definitely keep that in mind. Try not to be that person who only interacts with people when you're demanding the praise or the attention, or you're only responding to them to create a better following for you. It's something that really puts people off, especially me. Next, this one kind of goes along with it, but that's interact and engage with other content creators. If you see an edit, comment. You don't have to do too much. Just force some words of, oh my gosh, I love this. That's 6. But you get the point of just, this is really neat. When other content creators see you, for me, there are a ton of usernames that I recognize. We don't have to talk, but if I see your comments and see you liking my posts, my friend Bella and I, that's how we became best friends, is I recognized her comments on my posts, and when we started talking, I felt like I kind of knew her a little bit more and knew the things that she enjoyed, and it was easier to talk to. So definitely try to keep that in mind, is interact with other content creators and try to just be a friend. I know that some people feel definitely overwhelmed by that, but luckily Instagram has made it so easy. You can comment on a post saying that you like someone's edit and start talking to someone that way. You can interact with their story and just respond to it, and it takes a lot of the anxiety away. So interact with content creators, because the more friendly you are, the more likely they are to want to give you shout outs, want to follow you, want to interact with you, and want to share what you create. So that is tip 4 and 5. They kind of go together. And now we're on to tip number 6. For tip number 6, this is something that has happened to me a lot, and it's not really a bother, but it's just a suggestion. When I get tagged in a post, if I see that 20 other content creators are tagged, and I've never talked to the person before, I don't follow them, I don't interact with them, that tells me you see that I'm a bigger account, you want to use me to like your page and share it, and it's kind of a bummer. So what I suggest is definitely feel free to tag other accounts. I'm not saying don't tag other accounts. Tagging is a great way to just be really friendly and really nice. But make sure that what you're tagging them in is something that they enjoy. A lot of accounts have stan lists, which are characters, actors, shows, etc. that they like and that you can DT directed to. That's what DT is. Sorry. I sometimes forget. Editors have different lingo. But yeah. So definitely pick 5 or 6. The smaller amount of people that get tagged and that are DT'd these edits, the more personal it feels, and the more likely you are to believe that someone actually had you in mind rather than was using you. So, like I said, this one isn't too big of an issue, but it is something that I do notice, that I get tagged in things that are for a character I never talk about, or a random edit that I go, I don't know this person, and then it just makes me feel awkward about commenting, but it also makes me feel awkward if I don't comment. So try to keep that in mind when you're creating your account, is just be friendly and try not to tag so many people that it seems disingenuous. Really make sure that they like the content that you're tagging them in. So tip number 7, it's actually something that I didn't do when I first created my fan account. When I first created my fan account, I did a mix of making my own edits and screenshotting others' edits, crediting them, and posting it. While this is good, a lot of the times people follow accounts because they want to see something new. And I personally have seen a lot of shield accounts that will repost things that you can find on Google or Pinterest. And while they're really nice people, and while the content that you see is really good, it's not from them. And so if I follow 5 accounts that do that, I wind up seeing 5 of the same things every time I get on to my page, and so it tends to make me not want to follow them. So for tip number 7, I definitely suggest trying to create your own content. Content can be anything. You can get a simple photo of a stan and do like 100 days of one actor, 100 days of this. But try and create something that people aren't going to see on others' pages, because this makes them want to follow you. For example, I do video edits and photo edits that I come up with, and it can definitely have people wanting to follow me. Not that I even have necessarily the most followers or ever. This kind of sounds vain, but it's not meant to. But if people like the edits that I make, they follow me because they know that that's where they can see it. If you repost content, then people will see edits that they can see elsewhere, and they don't need to follow you. So it also shows originality and creativity, and it makes you seem more interesting. You see a certain edit style and you go, oh, how did they do that? That's really neat. I'm going to follow them. So like I said, I didn't do this when I first created my account. I used to repost edits all the time. Of course, I gave credit all the time. But I've since then archived those posts and just have original content on my page, because I noticed when I posted original stuff, I got more interactions than when I didn't. So that's just a tip that I have. And if you want me to do a video, if you're interested in creating a fan account, but you don't necessarily know how to get started with editing, I am 100% okay with doing a how I edit, what apps I use, and tips that I have for editing, that you can feel free to message me or comment in this video if you want to see that, and I'll definitely gladly post that. So just let me know in the comments below if that's something you want to see. But definitely try to create your own content. So this one was actually one that was suggested by my friend Emily. So going along with tip number 7 of creating your own content is finding your own style or art medium. So I personally enjoy editing in a certain way. Someone else enjoys editing a certain way, and because of that we have 2 different styles that people can look at and see the difference and follow both. It's something that I really enjoy about being a part of a fandom, is you can see so many different styles and ideas that people have. But style and medium is what you're good at. So let's say you're really good at writing fan fiction and you may not feel the most confident with editing. Post your fan fictions on, Instagram and what have you. Because then people can see, oh, you're a really talented writer, I'm going to follow this page for that. Create content that your followers will want to see, in the sense of they want to see you shining. And any talent that you have, people are going to notice in some way or another. If it's art, if it's fan fiction, if it's photo editing, if it's video editing, if it's a combination, post it, get it out there, and create your unique space, I guess you could say. I feel like I've said that a lot, but it's really important to creating a fan account, is create something that is you. So that is tip number 8, is just try to find something that makes you unique and makes you stand out. Once again, any of these tips, if you have any questions or want me to delve deeper, feel free to message me on my fan account, Shield Fans Unite, and I'll be happy to message them. Or I'll be happy to answer them. But to finish up this video, we have 2 more tips. So I'm going to go ahead and move on into those. Tip number 9. Do not steal edits. You don't want to come into a fandom and try to create a fan account and be labeled as that person who steals edits. I feel like this is kind of mixed up a lot in what exactly stealing edits is, which I don't think it should be, but it is. So first off, if you take someone's edit that you find on Google or Pinterest or something, see if you can actually find on the page a watermark. A lot of editors leave their usernames somewhere in the page, but if you do repost edits, if that's what you like to do, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you do every once in a while repost edits, you have to credit. Crediting is not putting it in the comments. Crediting is not putting it at the bottom of the caption. It's putting it at the top where people can see, people can notice right away, and they know, okay, this is from this creator. I've seen a lot of people who try to put it down way at the bottom or in the comments, and that's just not a good thing to do. You're pretty much taking advantage of people and the fact that they may not look for who made it. So give credit. If you don't know the source, then I suggest not posting it. You can always screenshot it and share it to your story on Instagram rather than actually posting it. But just don't steal edits. Another thing that I've noticed that people tend to not see as stealing is some accounts have do not repost. They will either put it in the caption of their videos or in their Instagram bios. If someone has a do not repost and you take the edit and you post it, even if you give credit in the proper way up at the top, that is still stealing because they've specifically said not to. So don't take an edit if someone has specifically asked not to repost, and try not to post anything unless you know exactly where it's coming from and you credit it right at the top where people can easily see that that's who it's from. Once again, I do suggest trying to not repost edits and to make your original content, but if you feel overwhelmed by that and you just want to get started with a fan page, I can understand why reposting feels more comfortable, but don't steal edits. That is one way to get people to not want to follow you and not want to talk to you. So the last one is number 10. Now 9 and 10 are kind of more of things not to do. And for number 10, it's avoid arguments. This is something that I didn't really pay attention to a lot when I first created my account. I posted political things, I posted controversial, argumentative things, and it did a lot of damage. It made me feel bad about myself. There were some days where I considered deleting my account because of petty drama. There were people who started to bully me on Twitter for it, so it's not worth it, and it's one surefire way for you to not want to be a content creator, an account owner, or anything. So definitely try to avoid arguments. If there's a character that you don't like, try not to be rude about what you say. Just try to be as polite and nice as you can, because the nicer you are, the nicer other people are. And fandoms, while they're amazing, they can get pretty toxic if people behave in certain ways. And I've seen, unfortunately, my fandom, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., get very toxic because of arguments. And so yeah, I definitely suggest staying away. One sec. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely suggest avoiding any arguments that you can avoid and trying to stay away from that. Another thing is, I personally think it's best if you stay away from political topics. If you're really interested in politics, feel free to create a page and a platform where you can talk about that, but when I'm on my fan account, I'm on it to ignore the world. And when I see accounts that post political stuff, there are tons of accounts that I have unfollowed for posting political things because they do it so often that it takes my escape into not an escape. I've unfollowed people with different opinions. I've unfollowed people with the same opinion. It gets to be too much, especially in fandoms. So that's definitely something that I highly encourage you not to get involved in, is the political drama of everything, because first of all, you limit who feels comfortable on your page, and you also make someone's safe space not that. So that's my 10th tip, is to avoid arguments and avoid politics at all costs. This doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion and you can't talk about your opinion, but try to make sure that when you do it tactfully and calmly, so that people don't see you as irrational and argumentative. So those are all of my tips that I have for creating a fan account. I'm sure that if I thought about it long and hard, I could come up with other tips and other tricks, but this is just kind of a basic getting it started. Here's what to do. So to do a quick run through and recap, be kind to yourself and be patient with yourself and your growth and your interactions. Choose a good username, something that people like but can easily remember. Use the appropriate hashtags so that people can find your stuff when they're looking for it. Try not to ask for shoutouts and follow for follows unless you are friends with someone and know them really well. Interact and engage with other content creators. It shows that you aren't there just for popularity, you're there to make friends. Try not to over tag accounts or tag them in stuff that they don't like. Try to create as much of your original content as you can and not necessarily edit ideas from others, or try not to repost people's edits the best that you can. Try to find your own style or specific skill set that you can share with people and embrace it and use it. Do not steal edits. This is a big no-no, and you will be immediately unfollowed when people realize that's what you're doing, so don't steal edits. And lastly, try to avoid arguments at all costs. So I hope that this video helped you if you're creating a fan account and you want to get started in this. I definitely encourage people to create a fan account if they like it, because my fan account has given me so many different opportunities and I love it so much, and it's taught me so much about who I am, as well as how to interact with people, how to make friends, how to just enjoy myself and be myself in real life. If you have any questions about anything that I've said or any other tips that I may have just forgotten, feel free to send them into my DMs on my fan account at ShieldFansUnite or in the comments down below. If you want to see more videos on creating fan accounts, now most of these were on Instagram, so creating fan accounts on Instagram, feel free to let me know what you would like to see down below. If you want to see a video of how to edit or tips on editing or what have you, once again, leave down below in the comments and I will happily make those. Talking about a fan account is a very big passion of mine, and I have no problem making more videos to help other people create fan accounts of their own. Thank you for watching. Please give this a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.